Welcome back, everybody. You are tuned into the Behind the Grind show for episode number 49, featuring UFC's Austin Hubbard, Bellator's Dalton Rosta, and going to be competing on season 4 of the Contender Series, Anthony Romero. This video is sponsored by Young's Insurance, the best insurance in the Niagara region. As always, this video may contain strong coercive language. Viewer discretion is advised. The 24-year-old 3-0 prospect, 3 KOs on a 10-fight winning streak, goes by Hercules. Dalton Rosta, how are you today, my friends?
I'm great. How are you?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another episode of Behind the Grind with your one and only host, Simon Romero.
Feeling since your win not too long ago?
I'm doing great. Just started getting back to training a couple days ago. So, it's only been a few days since my fight, really, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah. So how soon do you usually go back to training after a fight? Does it depend on if you get any damage? I'm not sure through your career if you have or not, but what goes through the process of going back to training so soon?
Really, I definitely take a couple of days break just to give myself a rest, kind of just kick back, relax, enjoy like the win for a couple of days, and then I just get back to training right after that. So 3 days, 4 days. I know some guys take a week off, some guys take a couple weeks off. I mean, you even got guys that they only train whenever they have a fight coming up. So as soon as the fight's over, they're done until they get news again. But I take a couple days to.
Yeah, so what do you usually do during that time? Do you just sit back, watch some Netflix? What does Dalton Rosta usually do on his time off?
So whenever I got back, I had to visit like a bunch of friends and everything to celebrate. Went out to eat with a few of my friends. Definitely got dinner. Sat down at some restaurants. Got dinner. Actually went to Sandcastle the other day. It's a water park. Just for something to do because there's not much open right now because of COVID still. So just try to do as many like fun things in those few days whenever I have free time as I can, and then get back to work a few days later.
Yeah, so the water park was actually really open. I'm surprised it was open.
Yeah, it was, and wasn't bad. Went on a few water slides and stuff. It was fun. Me and my friend, it was just a spontaneous decision. My friend was like, "We should go tomorrow," and I was like, "I don't know." I woke up in the morning. He was like, "You want to get?" I was like, "Let's do it." Kind of when it was like impulsive decision, really.
Yeah. So how good did that first meal when you went to that restaurant with your friends or family? How good did that meal feel in your belly?
I already had a lot of food at that point.
Okay.
So my stomach was kind of hurting, really, but I was still eating a lot of food. I went to Burgatory for whenever I got back with a friend of mine, and that was my first meal. But I ate pizza. I ate like tacos. I ate everything you could think of, and I have really bad sweet tooth, so I ate a bunch of sweets and stuff. Like right after my fight, I went right up to my hotel room right after my fight immediately and had like a bunch of sweets, like a bunch of candy waiting for me, and just ate it all. And a couple of blueberry Red Bulls, and then went to Tuscany, which is inside the Mohegan, and it's an Italian restaurant there, and got some chicken parm, some flatbread pizza. Went and got a milkshake from Johnny Rockets. Like I was eating a lot. Right?
I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still look pretty slim though. You can't even tell you ate all that.
I'm up there. I'm like 250 pounds right now.
Okay. Not bad. Yeah. So what's got to be? I haven't had Red Bull myself, but what's been like the best Red Bull you've tried? I know you said the blueberry you had, but what's the best one?
The blueberry.
The blueberry?
I haven't had the watermelon yet, but
okay.
I stick to what I know. I've had every flavor of Red Bull besides the watermelon, and once I found the blueberry, like I tried like a couple others just to like make sure like blueberry was like my favorite. And like ever since then, I mean, I just stuck to blueberry. Blueberry's the best one. But I might have to give the watermelon a try one of these days.
You have to give it a shot. Yeah. Yeah. So what was the trip home like? I don't know how far you had to travel, but did you have to fly? Did you drive? How did it work?
We flew because I'm from Pittsburgh,
Mm.
Pittsburgh area, and the fight was in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun. We had a layover in Philadelphia, and then we flew straight back to Pittsburgh. We got back noon the next day, so
Okay.
I mean it was a pretty quick process, and I mean everything went smooth, no delays, nothing. And as soon as I got back, that's whenever I started like going and seeing people.
For sure. So the fights a couple days ago didn't last very long, but walk us through the whole process of winning the fight against your opponent. How'd you feel in there? Walk us through that.
I mean, I felt great. Like I said, I'm always confident because of my preparation, because of my training, because of my capabilities, and I'm just a confident individual in the first place. But like everything was super relaxed, stress-free, like all week long. I made weight pretty easy and did all the right things, and I was just super relaxed. Everybody was having a good time. My coaches, we were all joking around even until like 15 minutes before the fight. We're in the background or back room. Ref Mike Beltran comes back and he's like giving us a rules meeting, and we're like cracking jokes while he's in there like being serious with us, and then he's cracking a little bit back, and then we start cracking a little bit more. And the photographer's in there trying to like take serious pictures of me getting my hands wrapped. My coach is in the background like doing weird poses, definitely passes. And so everything was nice, laid back, relaxed. We were having a good time, enjoying ourselves. And then about 15 minutes before the fight, whenever we started hitting pads, warming up and everything, that's whenever we cut out all the bullshit and just zoned in, like tunnel vision mode, and got ready. And it was just there's something was different this fight, like for the better. Like I said, I've always been confident and never doubt myself ever, but like there was just something else this time around where when I was getting ready for the fight, warming up and then getting ready to walk out, like there's nothing you could have like done, said, like brought up, put in front of me that would have really knocked me off my confidence or made me nervous, anxious, anything. Like there was just something different this time. And like I was on like another level of confidence, and I just felt like amazing and felt great. And when I went in there, I couldn't have been more confident.
Yeah, so obviously you're confident because of the preparation. If I can remember one time, or a couple times, there's a video of you training. I don't know if you were pulling a car, did that actually happen, or was I just dreaming or something?
No, I was pushing.
That was real, eh?
Yeah, with Molinaro Health and Functional Training. That's where I do my strength and conditioning at, and that's part of a circuit that we do. We start off pushing the car. We do like a lap and a half of the car push around the parking lot, and then I let go of the car, and we do a sprint straight to a medicine ball. I don't know. I remember how heavy it was. Yeah. I remember me being tired and it feeling heavy regardless.
So it must have been heavy.
20 pounds. It might have been 10, but it felt like 20. Mm-hmm. And like you grab it and throw it, hinge into it, like hip into it, and throw it as hard as you can behind you. Turn around, sprint to it. We did that like 6 times. Then I go immediately from that to footwork drills on the ladder. Yeah. And right after that, we go to like bag tosses. So like if you had a heavy bag there, pick it up, toss it, return it to the mat, however many times. And then we do 20 seconds. You have to stopwatch, 20 seconds of ground and pound, elbows, punches, everything on the bag, and then he'll pick it up right after that 20 seconds is over. And I did 10 leg kicks on the orbit in front of his leg, 10 leg kicks on the bag, and go immediately from that to the battle ropes. Like do uppercuts on the battle ropes, the heavy bag again. Right after the heavy bag, he had these JC bands, resistance bands around the telephone pole, because we're doing this in a park, like he has his own gym and everything.
A parking lot, yeah.
But we're doing this in a parking lot for the car push. I had to go around the telephone pole, and I do 150 each arm, like essentially shadow boxing, but punches
Yeah.
the JC bands, and then finish up with a sprint, and did that 3 rounds with 1 minute break to simulate the fight. Each time we did, and it was on 2 weeks notice. So we got 3 in, and each time I broke my time before that, and I set a PR my last time, the best times I ever had. And then I was doing my distant work. I was doing 3 miles here, 4 miles here, 2 miles here, like changing up the distance, but like the purpose for the run was different every time. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I just feel like doing 2 miles today. Whenever I was doing 2 miles, like I was doing it maximum capacity, max effort the entire time, keeping up the pace, the highest pace I possibly could from start to finish. And the first mile of that run, I actually got in 4 minutes and 48 seconds, which was a PR for me.
Yeah.
It's a sub 5 minute mile. And then I finished the whole run in like 10 minutes and 58 seconds or something like that for 2 miles, which is under 6 minutes a mile. So both of those were PRs for me. And then also just doing my regular distance work, riding bikes. I did like a bike ride the one day after I ran 3 miles, and did like 16-mile bike ride, 16.5-mile bike ride right after. I did a swim. I was just hill sprints after my runs, all this stuff to get ready in these 2 weeks. And really, I mean, it was really 1 week because we had to go there 6 days early.
Yeah.
Quarantine for 2 days. So I did this all in like 1 week, and I did a sprint workout with one of my friends the very first day that I got news of the fight, and my hamstrings were torched the entire time. Like,
and that was for this fight, right?
Yeah. And because we were doing like 100-meter sprints.
Yeah.
And walked 100-meter sprint, walked 100-meter. We did that 20 times. We did 20 laps of it, 40 sprints, I believe. And that sucked. My hamstrings weren't used to that because I was doing all distance work. So my quads weren't getting sore, but my hamstring was. So I was getting a lot of deep tissue work done. I was getting cryotherapy done. I was getting dry needling done, laser therapy, all these other things, TENS unit, using a Theragun, all these other things to try and keep up my recovery and loosen up my hamstrings. But they were sore for day after day after day. And I was doing those, like I said, 3 conditioning circuits, distance work, bike, hill sprints, that sprint workout that we did like at the track. And like I felt great, but we went there 6 days early, working out in the hotel room for 2 days before that. And then as soon as we got access to the workout room, I was running I think I did 2.5 miles the first day because I was just doing 2 miles as hard as I could. And I finished it in like 12 minutes. On treadmill is a little bit different. You have to set thing. But I did it in like 12 minutes, and then I finished up the last 3 minutes just because I'm like, all right, I fight for 15. I was like, I'm just going to jog the rest of the 3, but it wasn't at the pace that I was doing it for the first 2. Then I did the bike the next day, and this is on top of like our pad work and hitting the pad work as hard as we can, get all straight up. And then the third day, which was Wednesday, 2 days before my fight, I did 2 miles. So tapered it down a little bit and did that about 12 minutes. And then Thursday, nothing, rest. Friday morning, got a little bit of a warm-up workout in the morning, get the heart rate up again, and then fought on Friday. And I felt like, I mean, it was 2 weeks notice, but I did so much conditioning in that 2 weeks to where, like, I hit it really, really hard at first. And then even the week of, I mean, the week of my fight, whenever I have a full training camp, I usually don't do anything conditioning-wise, but I think I'm going to change that because even though I did all of that stuff beforehand, I feel like how I felt like during the fight and before the fight was partly attributed to like me still doing my runs and conditioning the week of, and I felt better because like MMA, a lot of people like to taper their training, and some people taper it 10 days before, some people taper it a week before. I usually tapered it like a week, but and I did taper a little bit, so I like cut down like the amount I was training, but I was still training hard, and I was still doing high intensity, and I was like, I never ran the week of a fight before, and this time I'm doing it. I did it twice, and I feel like that kept my wind up and improved my conditioning even more. So I think I'm gonna keep up with that, and I'm tapering, still do my conditioning the week of the fight, and so that's what I'm going to do from this point forward. And I felt great doing it. I mean, it's partly attributed to what I did leading up to that fight in the 2 weeks, but I liked what I did during fight week 2, the warm-ups, everything, before we did everything correctly, and I felt great. And I'm going to do that in the future too.
Yeah. So obviously you looked great too, but do you run like every single day? Is it like whether it's hills, the track, like do you do every day, every other day? How does it work?
It depends on my legs.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be tiring on the legs.
Yeah, so like when my hamstrings were all jacked up, I took one full day off of like running where I was just doing my regular training, and then my hamstrings were still sore the next day. They were sore for probably 5 days straight, maybe.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
When I was getting my deep tissue work done, it was like it hurt really bad.
Yeah.
For them to touch my hamstrings, and that was partly attributed to the sprint workout, but also I kept doing stuff while my hamstrings were still sore. I still never really gave them a break, so I took that day off and then kept at it after that just because it was 2-week notice. But normally a normal fight camp, like sometimes I'll do 2-3 days in a row, condition, then take a day off. Some times I'll do every other day. It all depends on how hard the conditioning workout was the day before and how my legs feel. I'm still going to train my MMA, my sparring, my jiu-jitsu, everything regardless, but the conditioning supplemental. So I try to do as much as I can. I try to do it every day, but when your body needs a rest, your body needs a rest. So that's really, it's a feel type of thing for me.
Yes, so it kind of depends on the situation, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
So would you say the hamstrings have been like the worst, not injury, but like the worst pain you felt, or what's been the worst you felt after a super hard workout?
I don't know, because I did whenever I was sparring for this fight coming up on 2 weeks' notice. I mean, I had my teammates Shark Tank me, so I did 5 5-minute rounds.
Okay.
Whenever I'm sparring to get ready for this, and I had a fresh guy on me each round, so a new guy would come in against me, and I'd stand the entire time, no breaks, and that sucked. I mean, that really tires you out, really.
Yeah, for sure. Without any breaks or anything. Yeah.
That really tests your heart. That tests your defense, your skill at that point, because when you're tired and like your gas tanks like dwindling, it's like that at that point. It's like really what that really shows you who's the men and who's the boys.
Yeah.
Because when you have nothing left, what are you going to show?
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, there's been times where I've been super sore after that, and not only sore, but like felt like my heart was gonna like beat out of my chest. Those are probably the hardest workout, like toughness wise and like grittiness. But whenever it comes to like muscle soreness or whatever, I would say those. Whenever my hamstrings, this fight camp, whenever my hamstrings were like that, it was pretty bad.
For sure. So you said you were training the 5-5-minute rounds. Do you believe that's preparing you for the title fight, hopefully in the future, in the near future, hopefully soon?
No. If I was preparing for a title fight for 5-5-minute rounds, I'd probably do 7.
Okay. So you always do like 2 more extra than the fight would be? Yeah,
it depends on how I feel too. I would do 7 or 8.
Okay.
And then like you have a test day every once in a while where I'll do like if I'm doing 3 5s during a fight camp, every once in a while, instead of doing the 5 5s with 5 different people, I'll do one day where I spar with one person for 3 5 and go all out and see where my gas tank is.
Yeah.
Like in a legitimate situation. So I would do the same thing with 5 5-minute rounds. Every once in a while, I would test my gas tank to see how it's improving, where I'm at, where I need to be, and then right after that, go back to the 7 or 8 5s, whatever I feel I need.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the same note as that testing, when you're doing your strength and conditioning, does your coach? Because I know Henry Cejudo, they'd wear like the band and stuff that tells how fast your heart's beating, and every other day I believe they would do. So it's the watch there.
Yeah, this is called the Whoop.
Okay, a Whoop. Whoop.
It's the same thing that they put around their chest. This one's just on your wrist. You can get the connector for the chest. I just wear it on the wrist.
Okay. Yeah. So what is that like? Does it monitor the beat of the heart, the steps, or I know there's watches like I have this one here. But this one's not like the fitness watch. I guess it's for like steps and things like that. So what does that one control?
It tracks your strain, how much strain you're putting on your body per day, each workout.
Okay.
It tracks your sleep, how many times you woke up during your sleep, how long you were in deep sleep, REMs, light sleep, how much time you were awake. It tracks your respiratory rate. It tracks your resting heart rate, your HRV, which is heart rate variance.
Yeah.
It tracks pretty much everything you could think of related to working out and resting and recovery. So, yeah, it's definitely a great tool, I believe, for my training and helping me peak and helping me get the most out of my training.
For sure. So I want to cover the topic about referee Mike Beltran. So you mentioned him earlier. What do you think about his nice fancy beard?
What do I think about what?
His nice fancy beard, the one that goes down all the way to his feet.
That's cool. I mean,
it's pretty nice. Eh?
One of my teammates asked him at the thing how long it took him to grow it, and it's 14 years.
Oh boy,
that long. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. But yeah, you don't see that. It's unique.
Yeah. So you have a beard yourself too. How long have you been growing yours?
I don't really. Sometimes I shave it like down my face, but that's rare. I usually keep my beard and then I just keep trimming it. So I don't let it get long. I just keep it at this length and I'll just trim it. And whenever I go to the barber, they line it up and everything. But yeah, I just keep up with it really.
For sure. So on the topic of MMA refs, who, in your opinion, would be the number one MMA ref?
I don't know. I never really thought about that, but I mean, I like Beltran.
Yeah. Okay. I like him because his beard. I don't know how his reffing skills are when you're in there, but.
Yeah. Pretty good ref. I mean, every ref at that level is good. I mean, sometimes you have every ref makes their mistakes and everything. And in real time, a lot of people criticize refs, but they don't understand that in real time, like their job is to protect the referee. So they might see something a little bit differently, and then when they look back on it, they might think like, "Oh, I made a mistake."
Yeah.
Game. I think they're good.
Yeah, so I forgot to ask you, we were talking about your strength and conditioning and your recovery and stuff, but in one of your posts I saw you were using that the freeze sleeve thing. So what does that do for your body? Does it really recover your body in a certain way? Like, how does that work?
It's essentially like instead of using an ice pack or like having to wrap an ice pack around your leg or your arm or whatever to ice or I mean, I still get like cryotherapy done, but instead of like doing the ice bath or anything like that, it's just a sleeve. It's like a neoprene sleeve, and it has, I believe, gel inside of it. So you put it in the freezer, and when you put it on, it's like a compression sleeve, so it compresses at the same time, and it's cold enough to like ice the injured area.
Really?
So, I mean, I use it all the time. I think it's great. It's cold for probably 30 minutes, I would say. And it compresses it too, and it stays on. You don't have to keep like messing with it or hold it there, or have about water leaking all over the place.
Yeah. So where do you actually get those things? I'm kind of interested in getting one of those.
I mean, Free Sleeve. If you follow them on Instagram, they have their link in the bio, and you could order them.
Yeah. So that's simple. I should have thought it's called the Free Sleeve. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you sound like an expert in the food eating world and in the healthy eating world as well, but I saw you went to Youngstown State University, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what did you take in school for there?
Finance. I was a finance major. I worked as a financial advisor for like a month at Northwestern Mutual right after I graduated, and then I got my pro contract with Bellator. So I packed up the job and just focused on completely fighting.
Yeah, so could you see yourself going back to that one day?
No.
No, not at all.
I plan on making a lot of money fighting and investing it and retiring.
For sure. So with the fighting and interviews, you've also mentioned your dear friend Dillon Danis. So talk to me about what's going on there. I know he's a weight class under you. He's at 170. Would you make the cut down there to
he's
to
not
meet him?
He's not a weight class.
No.
He hasn't made the 170-pound limit at all yet. He's fought at catch weights the entire time. The way it works is, and like Bellator might consider him a welterweight. He might consider himself a welterweight. A lot of other people might consider him welterweight because he's not like a full-size middleweight and he hasn't fought at middleweight, but he's fought at catch weight, so he hasn't made the 170-pound limit. So if you weigh in wrestling, if you sign up for a tournament, your coach signs you up for a tournament at 170 pounds, the limit for that weight class is 170.0. If you weigh 170.1, guess what? They don't let you wrestle because then you're considered the next weight class up, and that's not the weight class you wrestled at. In fighting, if you hit up as a local promotion or an amateur, if you tell a promoter, they're like, all right, what weight class do you want to fight? And you're like, I weigh 175, 180. And they're like, all right, so do you want to fight middleweight? Middleweight's 170. You would have to cut the weight and make weight. And they're like, I don't think I can make 175. They're not going to say, all right, you can just fight at 175, or you can just fight at 170 while you weigh 180. They're going to say, no, you're over the 170 limit, so you're in between 170.1 and 185.0, so that means you're in that 185-pound weight class. It's from this point to this point. That's where the weight class is. You don't have to weigh 184.5.0 to fight 185. You can weigh 180. You can weigh 178. You're still in that 185 weight class. That's the limit. 185 is the limit. So if he weighs over 170 and under 185, he is a 185-pounder. So he hasn't made that limit. He's a 185-pounder until he makes that 170-pound limit. We are the same weight class right now, and he's 2-0. I'm 3-0. I'll gladly knock his head off.
Yeah. So what inspired you to make that call up?
I don't really like him, and he's a troll. He calls out a lot of people that he can't even fight. He's not good, and I think he's just a Conor McGregor wannabe, and he makes the sport look bad. So just trying to put a stop to that hype train and really put him in his place.
Awesome. So this is the last question I have for you. Does Dalton Rosta have a hard time using styrofoam cups? I know you go by Hercules. Do you have troubles using a styrofoam cup?
I never use them.
No? I was going to say, you might squish it since you're Hercules. I don't know. All right. So it was a pleasure talking to you. I also want to know, if you get that title shot eventually with Bellator, wherever you end up in your future, what would be the go-to dance move? You got to show us.
Probably not.
No dance move?
Probably not.
Oh, man.
We'll see what my celebration is then, but it's not going to be dance.
Oh, man. I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's not going to be dance. We'll see what celebration is then, but not.
Okay. It'll be a surprise. No dance? No. All right. So, Dalton Rosta, it was a pleasure talking to you today. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Anthony Romero, the 7-0 Canadian prospect, fighting on August the 25th for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series when he takes on the 8-2 tough and durable Mike Breeden. Anthony Romero, how are you today, my friends?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. So you just got back home from training, right back to the trailer. How's your quarantining in the trailer going so far?
It's fun. It's nice and cozy. The only thing I can't see my family and my girlfriend and all that. But other than that, just enjoying my time and yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, you don't get the home cooked meals like usual. It's not nice and warm out there. But what would be the worst part of staying out in the trailer, and what would be the best part of staying out there?
The worst part, I think the worst part, maybe if the thing tips over, the whole trailer tips over. It's been pretty windy. We've had a couple of thunderstorms, and we had like a tornado warning the other day. So that'd probably be the worst part, is tipping over, waking up like upside down or something like that. That'd be the worst part.
Oh yeah. I don't know, what would be the best part in your opinion?
The best part, just kind of being able to relax, not having too much on my plate like I get here, and I'll teach a couple privates or whatever online, and then I just kind of chill out, watch TV, play some PS4, read a book, and just kind of enjoy myself.
Yeah, so talk to us about how your Genius Fitness is going for you so far. You're doing your online classes. You're not actually able to see your clients 1v1 in person. How is that working out for you so far?
It's fun at the beginning, training with people online, because I don't really usually have that interaction face-to-face through the phone. But yeah, it's been going well. A lot of my clients are accomplishing their goals. Pretty much all my clients That's the way it works. Is you train with me and you achieve your goals. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to get face to face with people, being able to use my own equipment with the ropes and all that. And yeah, just pushing people hard and helping them achieve their goal.
Yeah, so this online training must be working somehow. Not too long ago, Mr. Max Holloway stated that he was using his Zoom training. Give me your thoughts on that. How do you think that would work for him? Do you really believe that he was using Zoom as a session or a metaphor of training?
I don't believe it. I believe he had to get in shape by sparring and getting his hard rounds in. Not as much as some people usually spar, but I'm sure he had to get prepared for 5-minute rounds. It's a lot harder than people might think, and yeah, I'm sure he had to do that, and I'm sure he has to keep it secret as well. I don't know what the laws are in Hawaii, but yeah, it's probably kind of like here where you have to make sure that you're not going out to different gyms, you're not training, you're not going out to in public as more than you really need to. So yeah, I understand why he took that approach.
So talking about 5 rounds, you're not so new to 5 rounds anymore. You did not make it to the 5 rounds in your last outing, but you're training for 3 rounds now, even though you didn't have to go through that 5-round fight. Talk to me what the training looks like now compared 5 rounds to 3 rounds.
It's nice. I like it. We still push myself, getting those extra rounds in. Even in sparring, we don't just do 3. We'll do 5 or 6. But yeah, we're still pushing each other. I'm pushing myself for sure. I'm not scared to work hard. And yeah, it just makes things a little bit better. And then once we get closer to the fight, I'll start trimming it down to the 3 rounds so I can go hard. I'm not having to reserve my energy for the 4th and 5th round. But other than that, it was a crazy experience because I was doing 5-minute rounds with a new opponent every round, and then to go out and fight for a minute, it was a weird experience. But I'm happy it went that way and I didn't take any damage. So.
Of course. So the reason you're in the trailer right now is because of that Las Vegas media trip. Walk me through what you had to do going on that trip from the flight all the way to coming back home.
Yeah, so I got a transportation to the hotel. I got a test. I got one of those swabs down my throat, and then I was pretty much stuck in the hotel for the rest of the night, and watched some TV, went to sleep 3-4 times just because I had an early morning flight, and next thing you know, it's the next day, and we go downstairs. I had to do my MRI testing, and then I got to go to the UFC Apex. Had a meeting with Jeff Novinsky, talking about all the rules and all that. And then I had like a photo shoot. I had an interview. I had like the workout for the Contender Series commercial. And I think that took about 3.5 hours. And then that was pretty much it. Back into the car, back to the hotel, and then back in quarantine until I left the next day. So not much really happened. I was pretty much outside for like 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and then I was just stuck in the hotel for the rest of the day.
Right on. So by what you were saying, they sound strict, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were they? Like, were there security guards out in the lobbies, or how was it going over there?
Yeah, they were pretty strict, especially the fighters from or that were going to Yas Island for the UFC. They were staying at that hotel as well, so they don't want those fighters getting sick, right? Those are the high class fighters, the ones that are getting paid, making the money. Of course, yeah. So that's why they were so strict. They had security in the lobby. Nice people. They weren't super scary or mean or anything like that. But they made sure that when we were at the front door, that we had a reason why we were leaving, and if we were going somewhere where we weren't supposed to, we were allowed to, but we weren't allowed to come back, which I think is fair for the other athletes. Not that I had anywhere to go. I was there for business, and yeah, it was boring, but other than that, it was a cool experience.
For sure. So talking about security guards as well, back in the day when we were living the normal life, you were working at a restaurant, Boston Pizza, I believe it was. You were a security guard. Talk about your experience there. Did that help you at all with your MMA career? Was that an experience that can help you possibly? Talk about that to us.
It was pretty laid back. The only thing is that like the late nights, driving home at 3 or 4 in the morning, that kind of sucked. But other than that, it was pretty cool. I got to just stand on the wall and watch the UFC for free, which was cool. Just seeing everyone's reaction. I remember the biggest reaction was watching Masvidal knock out Askren. I was in the restaurant that day watching it live. And I took my eyes off the screen for 1 split second, and next thing you know, Askren just stiff on the canvas, and everyone just roaring super loud. That was a cool experience. And then stuff like New Year's, working on New Year's, there was a lot of people, like so many people where you can't even move. It was disgusting. That would never happen today. And then I think the Raptors finals was probably another big showing for people. But other than that, it's pretty laid back, not too much trouble. It's like a family restaurant, so there's not a lot of bad things going on, and it's in a good part of Niagara Falls. So yeah, it was good.
For sure. So it is a good restaurant. It's a family restaurant, but there had to be that one time things got out of control and the genius had to step in and take over. Was there a time that you were working at the restaurant that had to happen?
Nothing. Yes, pretty much. I think on New Year's there was a fight. I don't even know what happened, but my luck, it happened right beside me, and the one guy went through. Or he didn't go through the machine, but he hit the machine, or he hit his head on the machine, because it's like half arcade, half restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy hit his head, and I had to pull the other guy off, kick him out pretty much, and that was pretty much it. They didn't give me a hard time, which is nice. And yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a fighter, it's not a big deal," but things can always happen. Weapons can come out, like knives and all that. Just because you're a fighter doesn't mean you're invincible. Things can happen, and
of course.
I always try not to get into trouble or try not to get involved into things that it's not my place to get involved in. But that's pretty much the only thing, thankfully, that's happened. And now that the pandemic is happening, I don't really have to worry too much now.
For sure. So this did show up not too long ago, this pandemic. Did that help you at all with your training? I know it's hard for training, but like, did that take time off your hands, or how's that working for you?
Yeah, it's nice. I enjoy it. I like it a lot. A lot of people are saying that they're excited to go back to work and all that, but I really don't want to go back to work. I enjoy what's going on, and once I get that contract, I won't have to worry about it. So thankfully, I had this opportunity, and it's nice because of the quarantine. I'm home most of the time, and I just kind of hang out. I'm in quarantine right now, but usually I would hang out with my family. And but right now it's pretty laid back. I don't have to drive everywhere every day. Like before in my past camps, I was driving to Oakville, which is about an hour there, an hour back, every day. And that took a lot of my body. My back would be sore driving home, just because I just finished an exercise or a workout, and I'd just be stiff in the car for an hour. That wasn't the best experience, but now it's pretty laid back, training with you a lot, and yeah, it's nice.
For sure. So to get that contract, you have to go through Mr. Mike Breeden. Talk to me about your thoughts on your opponent, what you're expecting from him, and how it will go in your favor.
Yeah, I'm expecting everything in the kitchen sink. I'm expecting him to throw hands, look for takedowns. I'm expecting him to be the best test so far. But unfortunately, we have to fight each other, and he has to try to go through me, and I have to go through him, and the best man will win at the end. And I'm sure you know who that is. But yeah, I'm just excited for this whole opportunity. This whole experience has just been amazing. It's just an opportunity I've been waiting for my entire life, and now that it's here, it's I always have a smile on my face, but I have an extra big smile because of all this stuff. So yeah, he's a great fighter, and I'm just expecting the best. So.
For sure. So to start this journey, there had to be something going on. Your parents were helping you. Talk about other than your taekwondo that you've talked about in your past interviews. What was the journey leading up to it? What did you have to go through throughout your whole career growing up?
So going through taekwondo, it was nice because it was in my hometown of Welland. So it was like maybe a 5-minute drive. You know that too, doing boxing. It's not too far of a drive. And yeah, it was pretty much going through taekwondo. I started around 5, and then I got my black belt around 11, 12 years old. And then from there, I just kind of got bored of it. Not to say that it's a terrible sport, or I was doing so much that it wasn't. I didn't see a benefit because I knew pretty much everything. I know there's a lot more to know, but it was just something I didn't have an interest in anymore. And I saw an MMA fight with Patrick Cote and Anderson Silva, and I wanted to try that, but I didn't know where I could learn stuff like that. Fortunately, a gym opened up here in Welland, like 5 minutes. Everything's 5 minutes in Welland. And I went there, I trained there, and that's pretty much where I started. And I kept getting better and better, competing with adults in adult class and all that. And yeah, I was holding my own against them. So I one day wanted to try to be an MMA fighter, and now here I am.
Yeah, so along that journey, what struggles did you encounter that you had to go through to become to where you are to this day?
Struggles, just like injuries, nothing serious. I mean, no one wants to wake up sore and all that, going through a great hard exercise, which is good for your body. But then going through like the aches and pains in the morning and all that. Other than that, pretty much like I guess travel is a lot on the body. Going to California, going to Brazil, going to Italy for World Championships and Pan American Championships. Yeah, just a lot of I guess sleepless nights with nerves and stuff like that, which is normal. I've gotten to a point where I can accept it. They are. That's not a big deal. And just a lot of training, a lot of hard hours, and a lot of sacrifices that have been going on through my life. But now I'm here. The opportunity is here. I'm just knocking on Dana White's door, and now I'm going to do this fight.
So talk to me. Where's your father, your mother from? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so our father is from El Salvador. Yeah, he's from El Salvador. My mother is Canadian, our mother. And yeah, it's there's a lot of sacrifices that our father has made, coming from El Salvador, traveling all the way down to Mexico, and then going from Mexico to the United States, and then going from the United States to becoming a Canadian citizen. So there's a lot of sacrifice that he's made for us. And I feel like that should be noticed. I don't know why I'm not asked stuff like that. People just ask about where my father's from, but they don't ask like the details or anything like that. So I like that question. I think it should be noticed because there's a lot of families that have immigrated to this country and should be noticed for their sacrifice that they made for their family. And finding a better life, and people don't notice that until they have a family member that has experienced that, or they experience it themselves, and they always think that an immigrant is coming to ruin the country, or it's bad for the country, where it can be beneficial to the country. So yeah, I think that should be noticed, and I can't thank our dad enough.
Yeah, so our dad. What do you believe that you have of your dad? Like, what can you relate to say, oh, I have this from my dad or this from my mom? Where do you find that most?
I think it's that never give up mentality. You know our dad pretty well as well. And even at home, like if we were working on something or he's trying to fix something, he's always like, he never gives up. He's never like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow, or we'll wait. Like, it's always like, it has to be done today. I'm gonna find a way to do it. And that's exactly what he did when he came to this country. He could have gone to even just Guatemala, because I think it's Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, something like that, in that order. And he could have just got to the next country and then just turned back around and come home. But he didn't. He kept going and going and going. And a lot of things that he's gone through. There's stories like of him sleeping in garbage cans because there's no way or nowhere for him to sleep, or sleeping on the streets and all that, because he had no money. He wasn't rich trying to come over to here. He was poor, and he was trying to make a sacrifice to his family's life better than his was. And yeah, I think that's one thing that I really noticed in my training sessions, that just because something's hard doesn't mean you should stop right there. You should always try to get better and try to surpass that, and push through it, because things in life are hard, but you should never back down. You just got to put your head down, keep going forward, and crush the obstacle and go to the next one.
Yeah, so a lot of people know you because you are humble. You are not one of those guys to go and talk and keep your head high. Talk to us about what goes on behind that. Why are you humble?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm just a happy person. I don't find any benefit for my mental game to have to talk someone down or hurt someone's feelings, or bully someone. I don't find any power in that. I don't find any benefit. Just imagine. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But imagine if everybody was just so nice to each other. I know it's like a la la land, like, yeah, whatever. But it's true. Like, imagine like if people helped each other more, just helping your neighbor, just being kind to each other. I know there's a lot of people who are very kind, but there's also the opposite, and it makes this world tough, a hard place to live. But just being able to help people, it makes me happy, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm sure you know the shirt fundraiser that I've been doing, to donate money for breast cancer. So giving back to people in need, and I'm sure you know we've had family members who've suffered through that, going through breast cancer, which is why I picked that. Well, me and my girlfriend, she's the one with the idea, but yeah, I want to get back, and if you click the link in my my Instagram, it'll take you straight there, and you can grab a shirt, and that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, just smiling, being happy, being able to give back is what warms my heart.
Awesome. So we're running short on time here, but I have two more major questions. I want to get your thoughts on the no walkout strategy that the Dana White's Contender Series uses. You are used to walking out to music. For King of the Cage, you actually couldn't even choose your music, but this time there's no music at all. What are your thoughts on that? Will that have a play in your performance? Will that benefit you at all? Talk to us about that.
Not at all. I don't think it's gonna affect me. I actually went like when I train, I don't train with music anymore, and it's starting to become normal. At the beginning, it was super awkward, hearing yourself like going for runs, and you'd hear yourself breathing and your footsteps on the ground. It's just something that you wouldn't normally hear because you'd have the music, right? And you just kind of get maybe you have a good song on that pumps you up, so you run faster. So it's pretty interesting to have to push myself more without the music, and now it's becoming normal. And it's just a small period of time where you have the music, and other than that, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go tomorrow.
So you are the genius. We have to pick your brain a little bit to test your knowledge, but it's just a question. So you are on an island or in your trailer. Let's say there's a thunderstorm, the internet cuts out. What are you doing in then? I know you said you're reading books, but without internet, we'll say for a whole month without the internet or data. So don't try to sneak that one in. No data. What are you doing that whole time?
So I'll probably put up the awning, so I can do some workouts outside. I have my book. I'm reading. Actually, I have it here. Henry Cejudo's book. I really like it a lot. And a lot of people who know me, I don't usually read. I can read. It's not that I can't read. But I need a good book. I need a really good book to read. And that one's good. I'm actually halfway through it. And his story
Impressive.
is really inspiring. Yeah, I know. It's impressive. Maybe probably eating. I'd probably make sure I have some food in here. If I didn't have food, I'd probably go crazy. Other than that, just kind of probably sleeping, training, eating. I guess the normal thing I'm doing now. So, but yeah, that's pretty much my go-to. And some Zevia. If Zevia wants to sponsor.
I see that. Is that the cream soda Zevia?
Yes. Yeah, this is the first time trying it. I really enjoy it. So, Dodge, if you're watching, gotta get this Zevia sponsor.
So how does that one taste so far compared to the other kinds?
Good. Well, I like this stuff because it's like the 0-calorie stuff. I'm sure there's something in it, but it's better than regular soda. And it tastes, I don't know if you've had it before, but it tastes like a root beer float.
Oh, really?
From A&W. Really good. I like it.
Without the calories and stuff like that, though.
Yeah.
All right, so as we close the show here, I want to give you the opportunity to thank anyone you feel is necessary. You know the drill. The floor is all yours.
So thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your show. I've always wanted to be on your show because I've heard great things. So yeah, thank you for having me. And I believe other fighters watching this should get on your show and get to know them a little bit more because it's how we grow the sport. So thank you to my parents. I'm sure they're gonna watch this after. So thank you guys for all the sacrifice you've made. Dodge Sports, appreciate all your help and support. All my sponsors, there's so many great people, mostly in Welland. But yeah, I have great sponsors. Just thank you for supporting my career. And I gotta shout out my girlfriend. So thank you to her for being supportive. And my coaches, my team, Chris Prickett, Lyndon, Rory, all my teammates. And just thank you to everybody. I really appreciate it, your support.
Awesome. So last one I got for you. You got to leave a message for your opponents. Give us what you got.
So like I said, I'm a happy guy. I'm excited to beat the best Mike Breeden there is. So I'm sure he's going to bring his best. And let's just put on a show for Uncle Dana. And one of us is going to get a contract. But at the end of the day, I know I'm working too hard for this, and I'm going to get the W.
Awesome. So, Mr. Anthony Romero, it was a pleasure having you on. Have fun quarantining in your trailer for the last few days. We'll be seeing you soon.
All right. See ya, buddy.
All right. Take care. See you later in the day. Bye. And our very last guest to end the show is Austin "Thud" Hubbard. He is 28 years old. He is a UFC lightweight fighting out of Denver, Colorado at Elevation Fight Team. He takes on Joe Solecki August the 22nd. You may remember Austin Hubbard after he defeated Max Roshkov at UFC Fight Night June the 20th. He is 12-4. Austin
Mr.
Hubbard.
Austin Hubbard, how are you today, my friends?
All good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So we got this fight coming up. You got the plane ride tomorrow and everything. So first of all, talk to us about your plane ride experiences. So you got one. I believe you leave tomorrow, correct?
Yep. I leave tomorrow about noon. Luckily it's a short flight just to Vegas. I think it's only like an hour and a half or so. So that's always nice. I'm pretty glad I don't have to go all the way to Fight Island because that's.
I know. I was gonna say.
I'm excited, ready for this flight.
For sure. So this fight, you got Joe Solecki once again. So this fight was scheduled before. Talk to us about why do you think he pulled out the first time? Give us your side, I guess, of what you think happened.
I heard he got he tested positive for the corona. Actually, is what I heard.
Okay.
So, that's a pretty valid reason.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple things actually floating around. There's injury. I didn't actually hear coronavirus. That's new.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't hear a reason why until like recently that someone's like, oh, he probably tested, or I don't even know if it's even confirmed. Someone just said positive. I'm not entirely sure.
For sure. No one is obviously either.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you fought in Vegas, I believe it was June 20th, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So talk to us about fighting there again. You're familiar to the atmosphere there. I don't know about how the altitude was and everything, but have you fought in Vegas prior to fighting June 20th?
Yeah, this will be my third fight in Vegas now, I believe. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty nice. I actually like fighting at the Apex. I like how they do it. You know, you're in, you're out, you get done, you get back to the hotel, you can finally do whatever you want, eat. You know, it's a quick, clean process. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So also at the Apex, the Contender Series has been going on there. Have you been able to catch any episodes so far?
Yeah, I have. I've watched all of them so far. They've been pretty good so far.
Yeah, so you gotta be honest here. Aren't you happy you didn't have to go through fighting on the Contender Series?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was gonna fight on the Contender Series. If I forget the time frame they gave me about if I don't have an opponent by this date or something like that, that I was gonna fight on the Contender Series. Luckily I got a fight notice, you know, and debut, so I didn't have to go through the Contender. You know, the Contender definitely has its pros and cons. It's great for exposure. Like they do a great job hyping up everyone who's on the Contender Series, and they get a deep show, like name, like, and a lot of attention right off the bat going through the Contender Series. But at the same hand, it's like you really got to go out there and like finish someone, you know what I mean? And that's always the easiest thing to do. You know, it's so I'm definitely glad I didn't have to go through that, but you know, it would have possibly had some good positives out of it too.
For sure, and with everything too, that probably would have been the exposure and everything, but
yeah,
you'd obviously be like nervous, you'd be shaking and everything just before you walk through those doors. Obviously, you're nervous walking out to a regular fight, but I feel like this would add like extra pressure, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, probably a little bit, for sure, because you know you got to go out there and really like grind,
mess them up.
I mean, like, but it is probably, you know.
For sure. So, do you have a walkout song chosen for coming up? I believe it's Saturday the 22nd.
I do. I'm actually walking out to a song called "At My Leisure" by Stilo Bass.
Okay.
One of my buddies that he raps, makes music, and we used to work together. You know, back before I made it to the UFC and stuff. And you know, I like his music a lot, and you know, I'm just trying to get him some exposure and, you know, get his music out there and help him. So it's kind of a win-win because, like I said, I do like his music a lot, and you know, I'm also trying to help him out, getting him some exposure and stuff.
Yeah. So, do you usually change your songs depending on the fight?
I do most of the time. I don't know. I hate picking out my walkout.
I know. Yeah, I bet.
Like, so, you know, now that I just picked out one of his songs, I've used two of his songs now, but the one I'm using now I like a lot. So I actually walked out to it my life, and you know, did well. So I'm just gonna keep rolling with this. So.
Yeah. So when you worked with your buddy that actually makes this song, where were you working at the time?
So I was working in a warehouse, a Walmart distribution, Walmart distribution center up in Loveland, Colorado. Yeah, it was not a fun job. It sucked, throwing thousands of freight, you know, all day long for about 12 and a half hours. And I worked the weekend shift so I could train during the week. So I'd work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then have to be up by like 4 a.m., leave the house, and then not get home because Loveland's like an hour or so from where I live.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So it was not fun. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. And now I'm fortunate enough to just make a living, doing what I love.
Yeah, so when you got the call to the UFC, did you quit the job right away when they're like, okay, you're going to the UFC, blah, blah, blah? Did you say, okay, I'm done, boss, that's all for me?
I actually quit that job probably 2 years or so, roughly, before I made it to the UFC, because, like, it was just too much. It was a super physical job. I worked it for over 5 years, or around 5 years, and I was just tearing my body down for 12 and a half hours all weekend, and then going training all week, 2 3 times a day, sometimes 4, and I just had no rest and recovery time, and I could really start to notice, that it was just getting to be too much, and I had to make a decision, like, quit this job or, not really reach my full potential. So I quit the job, which, it was kind of hard there for, till I got in the UFC. Even once I got in the UFC, it's not like I was making good money or anything like that.
Yeah.
Still broke.
Mm-hmm.
I just sucked it up, did odd jobs here and there, drove for Uber or Lyft, doing anything I can, to make money, get by. It was a rough time, but it was worth it because, I got where I needed to go, and, now I'm here and I'm doing fine and everything. So, yeah, it was all worth it.
For sure. So you got in the UFC not too long ago, I believe. It's been a little while, like not long, but what have you learned from those previous 2 losses in the UFC that have made you a better person today?
Yeah, I've been in for, I think, around a year or a little over. I learned a lot from those losses. They're obviously very tough opponents, high level opponents, so I don't want to take anything away from them. But, like, when I got in the UFC, I just kind of, I was overthinking things a little too much. I was making it harder on myself than I needed it to, and now I feel like I'm calm. I've calmed down a bit. I'm starting to perform. How I know I can. The hardest thing was, like, making that mental switch. From the regional to the UFC.
Exactly. Yeah.
The learning window is a lot smaller. At this high of level. So, it took me 2 losses, and I learned. I feel like I'm definitely a better fighter now for those losses. And, just got to make adjustments, get better, and move forward. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, so since you've been in the UFC for over a year, or about a year, I got to say, you have to be in the UFC 4 game. What do you think about that?
Oh, man, that would be awesome. I don't know how that works to get into the game, but...
Yeah.
I think there's some ranked opponents that are ranked fighters in the game that aren't even in it. So.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so even you, come on, I gotta imagine you have to be in the game, being in the UFC a year or whatnot. Let's say you are, though. Let's say you are.
That would be awesome if I was.
Yeah.
That's my goal. One of these days, I want
to go.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be in a video game.
That'd be pretty awesome. You can play as yourself and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Are you going to be actually purchasing the game?
Yeah. I plan to. I haven't yet, but I plan to.
Perfect. So when you get that, we'll have to have a little best out of 3 match, and I'll have to teach you a lesson.
Yeah. I haven't played a fighting game in a
while. Oh, come on. Call of Duty.
Yeah. Play quite a bit also, but I definitely do plan on getting that game.
Awesome, that'd be pretty cool, I think. But do you follow any other sports?
Just football and fighting, pretty much.
So no basketball at all?
No, I grew up wrestling, so basketball has never been my thing.
Man, so let's say, do you know much about basketball anyways, like a thing or two? Nothing at all?
Need to shoot it into the hoop, and
at least you know that.
Familiar, I just don't watch it or anything. Not a hard fan of it. Like, I don't, outside of like the major stars, I really don't know many of the other players,
Yeah, so if you are familiar with football at all, since you said you are, but who's winning the trophy this year?
I don't know. I feel like, uh, I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting this year, especially now. Tampa Bay has Tom Brady and Gronk, and they have a good offense there. The Ravens are tough. They have a lot of good players. The 49ers are still really good. There's a lot of good teams this year. I feel like it's gonna be a really interesting season.
Do you have a favorite team at all?
Yeah. My favorite team is probably the Vikings. My fiance, her family is diehard Viking fan. I've always been a Viking fan. I've never been like a specific team fan. I have like multiple teams that I like. Like I just like certain players and like who I use for Madden and stuff.
Yeah.
I have like multiple favorite teams, but I would say now I'm kind of a Vikings fan more so than anything else.
I was gonna say you gotta play with Patrick Mahomes once in a while. Come on.
Yeah, dude, he's good. Dang.
Hey, you should have went to the NFL. You could have signed a $503 million deal.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
How do they even pay a single player that much money? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he earned it though. Definitely. Something.
I guess so. So imagine if the UFC paid like that. That'd be crazy.
God, that'd be awesome.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta lighten up the mood in here. You gotta tell us your funniest joke that you have. I'm putting you on the spot here. You gotta tell us your funniest joke.
Funniest joke? I don't know. I don't feel like I have any.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm more of yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't really have funny jokes.
Man, you let me know.
Like one-line jokes. I don't know. I feel like I'm a funny person. I just kind of.
I put you on the spot, maybe.
Flow of a conversation. I don't just I have jokes at the top of my head.
That's all right. All right,
next
so
time, I'll be
next time for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I see. So after the fight, I'll get you. I'll send you a phone call. You gotta tell us your funniest joke.
All right.
All right, so a big thing I wanted to talk about, I'm sure it's been talked about before, but boxing is an Olympic sport and MMA isn't. So could MMA one day maybe be an Olympic sport?
Yeah, I mean, boxing has been around for how many years compared to MMA? Like a shit ton.
Sure.
MMA is what, like 25, 26 years old? So
around there, yeah.
Compared to like all the other sports, it is super young. And in the time it has been around, I feel like it's grown a ton. So, into the next couple, years, who knows, 10, maybe 15 another year, couple years, and maybe it could be right there as like, I feel like it's really come along as like a mainstream sport now, especially this year. I feel like it's been a big step in becoming like more mainstream of a sport, with it being like the first and only organization going since the corona and everything. So yeah, I think one day it definitely can be there.
Do you think that would be like just amateurs only or professionals as well?
Isn't boxing amateurs only?
I think so, yeah, but I think they were talking about one time with professionals going over there too, which in my opinion wouldn't even be fair. Amateurs against professionals, I don't know how that would work.
Shit, most of the people in the Olympics though at that level, they're as good or better than
than some professionals, yeah.
The ones that are getting medals and everything. So, yeah.
So probably amateurs. Though?
I guess I would assume they would just follow suit on what like other sports consider are doing.
Yeah. So let's use our imaginations and say they do allow professionals. Would you by any means compete in that?
Yeah, I mean, if I got like an invitation to, and if it worked out where I could and everything, yeah, that'd be a cool accomplishment, to say you got in the Olympics and even a medal or something. That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool, actually. I didn't even think of that. I wish I could be in the MMA Olympics now.
Yeah.
So, you got to tell us, this is going way off topic, but your biggest kitchen fail. Are you a cooker? How does it work? Tell us your biggest kitchen fail.
I'm not the biggest cooker.
You're no Gordon Ramsay, I guess.
No. I can throw some things together. I feel like pretty good. Like I can make some good ass pancakes.
Okay. Do you put any like filling in the pancakes or anything, like chocolate chips?
Sometimes. Usually my go-to is like a vanilla cinnamon type of flavor.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like that's about the only thing I can say I'm good at.
Just pancakes.
Yeah.
You eat pancakes every day for lunch, breakfast, and supper.
Stuff together that's really good, but I don't know. I don't know if you can call me good at cooking.
You're in the middle, I guess. You're in the middle.
Yeah. I'm not the worst, but I'm not the best.
I see. You might cook the best pancakes, so
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I don't want your arm to fall off or anything. You're holding your phone there.
Yeah.
So, we're good. So before I let you go, you got this fight coming up August 22nd. As we always do, leave one message for your opponent coming August 22nd.
I guess my one message would be, let's just put on a great show, try getting that bonus.
Perfect. So, and the last one before I let you go here, short and sweet, I would like to give you the opportunity to thank anyone that has helped you along your journey so far. The floor is all yours.
I would like to thank my, obviously coaches, teammates, family, the people who have sponsored me in the past and the people who has bought fight shirts and everything like that. Just thank you to everyone, really, all the fans, anyone who tunes in. Yeah.
Awesome. So it was a pleasure having you on. I want to wish you the best of luck coming up, and it was awesome talking to you today.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.